So today we're starting Unit 6, and Unit 6 begins with Section 6.8, and it's complex numbers. So today with the sub, I just want you to watch the notes. It's, I think, 5 examples that I have for you. And then once you're done watching the notes, you're going to do your homework, which, yes, we are going to take for a grade tomorrow when you come to class. You do not have to write these notes down if you don't want. If you'd like to just watch them and then do the homework, that's fine. But if you do want to actually take notes and have these written down, you can absolutely do that too. So here's our first example. If you're taking notes, go ahead and write it down. If you're not, you can just watch. So today we're going to add complex numbers, we're going to subtract with complex numbers, we're going to multiply with complex numbers, and we're going to divide with complex numbers. Whew! So the first thing we're going to do is add these complex numbers together. So you're basically just combining like terms. I'm looking and I'm seeing, all right, this is a 4 by itself, this is a 3 by itself, that's a negative 4 by itself. So I'm taking 4 plus 3 plus a negative 4, which I know is just 3. And then I see that I have a negative 2i, a negative 3i, and a 7i. And when you add all of your i's together, you get plus 2i. And so your final answer is just that, 3 plus 2i. Nothing fancy, you're just combining your like terms and you just treat I like a variable. Here's the second example. So we did an example with adding. Now we're going to do an example with subtracting. And again, you're just thinking combine like terms. 3 minus 2 is going to get you a 1. And then negative 2i minus a negative 3i. It means I'm really adding them together. Negative 2i plus 3i gives you just an I by itself. So this one ends up being 1 plus I. And for whatever reason, you write the thing with an I second in your answer. That's how the book does it anyway. Alright, so now we're multiplying these complex numbers together. We added, we subtracted, now we're multiplying. When you multiply, we're just using FOIL. So we got to multiply our first pieces together. 2 times 3 gives me 6 first, and then our outer pieces together. 2 times negative 2 gives me negative 4i. We have our inner pieces, which gives me 15i. Let me switch colors. Let's do red. And then we're going to multiply our last pieces. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10, and I times I is I squared. So before we move further, we need to address the I squared. So this guy is still 6. I'm going to combine my like terms. Negative 4 plus 15 gives me positive 11i. And remember, I squared is negative 1. So really I have to multiply 10 times negative 1. So 6 plus 11i plus 10. And then you're combining your final like terms. 6 plus 10 gives you 16. And then I have this 11i left over. And there is your final answer. So just foiling like normal, and then remembering that I squared is negative 1. Here's the next example. And so this one, again, we're going to use FOIL because this thing is squared. I know a lot of us still like to distribute that squared just to those two things. Please make sure that you don't do that. I'm going to erase that so nobody does that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I like to write it twice because sometimes for me it's hard to FOIL if I only see it written once. It's just a personal thing. Alright, so I'm going to do first and then outer and then inner and last, but I can't forget I have that 3i, so I'm going to write that there first. Okay, so first I have 2i times 2i, which gives me 4i squared. So first and then outer, 2i times negative 1 is negative 2i. And then I need to do inner. Those multiplied together give me negative 2i. And then I need to do last. -1 times -1 is a +1. So now I still have this 3i. I have 4. Remember, my I squared is -1. I want to put that in there. I'm going to go ahead and combine my -2i's. So I have -4i. And I still have that +1. So 3i. This is really -4 minus, oopsies, oh my goodness. Here we go. Minus 4i plus 1. Combine my like terms. So I have 3i. -4 plus 1 is -3. That's a minus sign. Okay. Now I'm going to deal with the 3 on the outside. And I'm going to distribute. So that's going to give me -9i minus 12i squared. Again, we know I squared is -1. And now I can finish the problem. -12 times -1 gives me a +12. And I still have 9i. I just rearranged them because, again, the book likes the I to come last in the answer. So you should have ended up with 12 minus 9i. That took a little bit of time. That was a long one. And last but certainly not least, what do you do if you're dividing? Well, our whole goal, remember, it's kind of like rationalizing the denominator. We can't have a radical in the denominator. Well, we can't have an I in the denominator either. And so you have to multiply by what's going to make the difference of two squares. So if I have 2 minus 4i, I need to multiply by 2 plus 4i. And whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So I'm going to go ahead and FOIL. When I FOIL the top, so I get first, gives me 8, outer, inner, last, it's going to be an I squared. On the bottom in the denominator, first, outer, inner, and last, -16i squared. And so I multiply by the difference of two squares because these guys just cancel, which is super nice. So in the top, I still have 8. 16i minus 6i gives me 10i. I still have minus 12, but I squared is a -1. And then in the denominator, I have 4, and then minus 16, and I squared is a -1. I'm going to go ahead and keep going. -12 times -1 gives me a +12. And if I add 8 to it, then I get 20. And then I still have that plus 10i. And then on the bottom, -16 times -1 is +16, plus 4, which is 20. And so then I can simplify all of this. And there's two ways that you can write your final answer. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Okay. There's two ways that you can write your final answer. So I can divide everything by 10, and so you could write this as your final answer. Like that. Or 20 divided by 20 is 1, plus 10 and 20 simplify to give you 1/2 I. And so the book actually has it this way, but for me, I actually prefer it. I prefer it this way, but either one's fine with me. I would accept either one. As long as you know to simplify, I don't really care how you do. And so here's the homework that you need to do. Page 295, numbers 3 through 36 every third. And yes, we're going to grade them the second you guys walk into class tomorrow. Hopefully you guys are having a really good day, and I can't wait to see you.